Good evening, sir. Welcome, sir. Prashant, sir.
Yes,
Am I
good
audible?
evening.
Good
Yes,
evening,
yes.
sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
So we still have 15 minutes more, sir. Can you wait
No problem,
for
no problem.
participants to join? Thank you, sir.
Just you said no. We need to check it. That's
Yeah.
why I was trying to check it.
Thank you, sir. It's very kind of you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Shall I leave and then join, or
Sure,
is it
sir.
okay?
Sure, sir. You can leave and join later, sir, in 10 minutes.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mothe sir. Mothe sir, good evening. Prashant sir.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Hearty welcome to you, sir.
Pleasure is all mine, sir. Thank you. Pleased
Nice
to meet
meeting
you.
you. Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Still, we have 10 minutes more,
Yes, sir.
but as suggested by the organizing secretary, just I tried to join it by the
How are you,
link.
sir? How are you, sir? How is everyone in your family, sir? Is everyone
Yes,
fine?
everything is fine, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Everything is
Sir.
fine here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Can I
Thank you
back
so much, sir.
after 10 minutes or
Sir,
4 5
exactly,
minutes? Yes,
exactly
sir.
by 6 o'clock we shall start, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Please, please.
முகிலன் சார் வணக்கம்.
மேடம் வணக்கம். வணக்கம் மேடம்.
வணக்கம் சார். வணக்கம் சார். சார் வந்துட்டாங்களா?
வந்துட்டாங்க மேடம். கெஸ்ட் சார் வந்துட்டாங்க. டாக்டர் பிரசாந்த் மோதி இஸ் அவைலபிள் மேடம்.
சரி
சார் ஏர்லியாவே 5:45 ஜாயின் பண்ணிட்டாங்க.
சரிங்க சார்.
ஐயா வந்துட்டாங்களா? சிவனேசன் ஐயா இருக்காங்களா?
சிவனேசன் ஐயா வந்துருவாருன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இந்த
சரிங்க. சுந்தரவழி மேடம்.
Yes, sir. Start the program.
Madam, we should start the program sharply at 6 o'clock. That's just in 1 minute.
Yes, sir. In a minute, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Sir has been waiting from since
Yes, sir.
45. So we are starting the program sharply at 6.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We can begin. Dr. Prashant sir, before proceeding formally with the welcome address, as one of the conveners of this FDP, I wholeheartedly extend hearty welcome to you, sir, for having accepted the invitation.
Thank you, sir.
Notice. And we are really pleased to have you as a guest speaker, sir. We are really honored, sir. Thank you. It's a privilege for us.
It's my honor.
Shall we begin, sir?
Yes, sir. No problem.
Madam, let us proceed. Yes, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our virtual faculty development program. On day 6 of our FTP, we are happy to have you all with us as we continue our quest for professional development and knowledge sharing. It was encouraging to observe the overwhelming response from participants who have expressed gratitude and praises. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. With these words of Nelson Mandela, let's equip ourselves with knowledge and transform the educational landscape together. On behalf of Ayanada Janakyamal College Sivagasi, which has gathered us all for the 7-day National Upskilling Professional Development Program, jointly organized by the Departments of Tamil and English under UGC Autonomy Grant, I extend a very warm greetings to you all. Before we dive into the sessions, I request all the participants to ensure that your microphone is muted. Kindly record your feedbacks and queries at the end of the session. Thank you. Without further ado, let's begin the enriching journey. There's a little in life so reassuring as a genuine welcome. I now invite Mrs. R. Muthuchelvi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, to deliver the formal welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
ஐயா வணக்கம் ஐயா முவேந்தன் ஐயா வணக்கம் 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 வணக்கம்
Usually, madam, please unmute your mic and speak. Oh, mic mute la irukku.
Okay, sir. Good evening,
Yes,
sir.
madam. Please proceed.
Uh, Good evening. A warm welcome to all the amazing individuals gathered here. I'm so happy to welcome you all for National Level 7-Day Upskilling Professional Development Program. At the outset, I would like to welcome our Honorable Principal, Dr. C. Ashok, sir. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. G. Sivanesan, sir, Head Department of Tamil PG. Welcome, sir. Next, I extend my welcome to Dr. N. Arunmoli, ma'am, Head Department of Tamil UG. Welcome, ma'am. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. M. Movinden, Head Department of English UG. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to welcome Mrs. R. Sophia Rani, Head Department of English PG. Welcome, ma'am. Next, I should strive to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Prashant Mothe, Associate Professor, Department of English, Ardas Mahavidyalaya, Maharashtra. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to welcome the faculty members from other colleges and our college. At last, I would like to welcome every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you for your heartfelt words of welcome, ma'am. I now invite Mrs. D. Mahalakshmi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, to introduce the most resourceful person of today's session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. A cool and pleasant evening to all. To be inspired is great, but to be an inspiration is an honor. One such person is our today resource person. The Department of English of Sivagasi Ayanada Janakyamal College feels very proud for having such an eminent personality with us today. I am pleased to take the opportunity to introduce our chief guest of the day, Dr. Prashant Subhashrao Mothe, Associate Professor of English, Adarsh Mahavidyalaya, Maharashtra. He is an erudite scholar and has many academic qualifications to his credit. Indeed, his areas of interest and specialization are extremely varied as ELT, linguistics, pragmatics, Indian writing in English, and e-content development. His contribution towards research is impressive. His thirst of research is extended by editing many standard books. Another feather added to his cap is his contribution as a keynote speaker in various international webinars. He has presented numerous research papers in both national and international seminars and conferences. He has delivered lectures and chaired many technical sessions in state, national, and international conferences and webinars. It's matter of proud to say that he is a member of the editorial advisory board of various national and international journals. So it is rightly said, the fragrance of the flower spreads only in the direction of the wind, but the goodness of person spreads in all the direction. No doubt we have such an inspiring personality. I am very sure his speech on science fiction is going to rock today. With these few words, I hand over the session to our chief guest. Please, sir.
May I start, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Uh, at the at the beginning, uh, respected principal of the college, Dr. C. Ashok sir, convener of the FDP, Dr. G. Shivani sir, head department of Tamil, Dr. Yan Arunmurji, our source of inspiration, Dr. Yam Muvindan sir, head department of PG, Dr. R. Sophia Rani ma'am, organizing secretaries, Mrs. K. Sunitra Valli ma'am, Dr. S. Vinod sir, Department of Tamil. At the outset, I need to congratulate the entire team of Aya Nadar Janki Aman College, Shivakashi, for two basic reasons. First, for organizing online national level 7-day FDP on upskilling professional development program, which I think is the need of an hour. And besides that, mm, for inviting nationally acclaimed resource persons like yesterday I have listened to Professor Ian Ilango sir, and tomorrow you are going to listen to Dr. R. Lakshmi Priya ma'am. So both are very good resourceful persons, nationally acclaimed academicians. And the topic given for me for today's presentation is mm, science fiction, and all the respected faculty members of different colleges, and it is very much this theme which we have selected for today's talk is very informative and interesting one. Although examples of science fiction can be found as far back as the Middle Ages, its presence in literature was not particularly significant until the late 1800, right? So when you see, let me move to the next slide. And as I'm talking about science fiction, it's true that its popularity for both writers and audiences came with the rise of technology over the last 150 years, with the development such as electricity, space exploration, medical advancement, industrial growth, technological informative sciences, and today's word artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. As science and technology progress, so does the genre of science fiction. So we need to there are so many people who talks about what do you mean by science fiction. So science fiction is a genre of fiction in which the stories often tell about science and technology of the future. So it is important to know that science fiction has a relationship with the principles of science. These stories involve partially true and partially, we can say, fictitious characters or laws or theories of science. So it should not be completely unbelievable, because it then ventures into genre fantasy. Who knows that one day we are going to deliver and meeting with each other online. If someone was talking about this fact 200 years before, they might see as that we are talking uh, illusionary things, right? Imaginative things. So this way we need to believe in some kind of certain kind of science fictions. So the famous author Theodore Sturgeon rightly said that a good science fiction story is a story about human beings with the human problems and human solution, which would not have happened at all without its science content, because unless and until there are scientific elements involved in the fiction, it won't be complete science fiction, we can say that. Moreover, uh, there is a famous biographer, Sam Moskowitz, who rightly said that science fiction, he defines science fiction as science fiction is a brand of fantasy identifiable by the fact that it eases the willing suspicion of the disbelief on the part of its readers by utilizing an atmosphere of the scientific credibility for its imaginative speculations in physical science, space, time, social science, and philosophy. In a such a way, we need to think about certain kind of science fiction in a such a way. To move further, when we need to see first, first we need to see. I think someone Mike's voices mic is on. Kindly, yes, mute yourself. Thank you very much. Let us, as I'm talking about the first true science fiction novel, or we can say that uh, was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. So she wrote about scientific practices and tried to persuade the reader that her story could actually happen. So Frankenstein was the first novel in English to deal with the possibility that science could create a monster that could destroy science and possibly humankind. So Mary Shelley did not wish the story to be considered supernatural. That's why she made the main character a scientist, and his scientific efforts were highlighted in the novel. So the mood of the novel is a tale of a terror. In plot, a laboratory experiment gone awry. So the blend of Gothic materials and science in this novel brought the tale of terror clearly into the stream of science fiction and also gave it a more creditable base to consider as the first true science fiction written by Mary Shelley, that is Frankenstein. So the, if not the first science fiction novel, then Frankenstein is at least the first novel that showed what a science fiction novel would be, right? So writers take scientific possibilities and develop them step by step from known data like electricity, space, galaxy, to form a story, and they write uh, imaginative, creative fictions. So whenever they are writing about it, they are dividing science fiction into two broad categories, that is hard science fiction versus soft science fiction. When we think about the hard science fiction versus soft science fiction, what is the difference? So science fiction, as I rightly said, that is divided into two broad categories, and hard science fiction novels are based on scientific facts, and they are inspired by hard sciences. Everyone is aware about what do you mean by hard natural sciences, like physics, chemistry, astronomy, right? Uh, Astronomy. So these are all considered as hard natural sciences. On the other hand, Soft science fictions novels can be of two things: either they are not scientifically accurate, or they are inspired by social sciences like psychology, sociology, or we can say anthropology. So the terms, in one way, are somewhat flexible one, but they help readers quickly understand the foundation of a novel, what to expect from the present novel. So in truth, most of the novels use a combination of both hard and soft sciences in the fiction. So soft science fiction allows audiences to connect an emotional level, and on the other hand, hard science fiction adds real scientific evidences so that they can imagine the action actually happening in the novel. So combining the two is a better storytelling technique, and most of the famous science fiction writer uses the both the combination of hard as well as soft science fiction, combination of these technique, we can say, facts. So to move further, there are a few subgenres. Okay, science fiction also has a seemingly endless number of subgenres. So, few of them related genres of science fiction, as I have mentioned here, that which are those few mm, subgenres related to science fiction. That is fantasy fiction. First one, that science fiction, in the fantasy fiction you can see that fantasy, a genre of fiction that concentrate on imaginary elements, right, mythological elements, or folklore that often include elements of magic. So this can mean magic, the supernatural elements, the alternative worlds, superheroes, monsters, aliens, and so forth, include in fantasy fictions. So many science fiction works involve elements of fantasy, like imagining worlds made of beings from other galaxies, or paranormal powers. So the two genres tend to overlap in the fantasy fiction. However, the primary distinction is that those elements of fantasy in science fiction always have the basics in science, whereas fantasy is strictly, we can say, fantasy is strictly imaginative. But in science fiction, there is a combination of both science as well as fantasy. The another important genre of science fiction is supernatural fiction. So, in supernatural science fictions, stories about secret knowledge or hidden abilities that include witchcrafts, spiritualism, or psychic abilities. The third important genre of science fiction is utopian fictions. In such a utopian science fiction, stories about civilizations the authors deem to be perfect, ideal societies. Utopian fiction is often satirical in the utopian science fictions. So, uh, the fourth genre of science fiction is dystopian science fiction, in which dystopian science fiction stories about societies the authors deem to be problematic for the things like government rules, poverty, and operations, and they are talking about all such things in how to overcome in the dystopian science fictions. Another important genre of science fiction is space opera. A space opera is one of the most popular forms of science fiction, where the whole story or majority of the story takes place in outer space. So its name comes from the idea of a television soap opera. You must have heard about it, but it has nothing to do with musical opera and so kind of things. But space operas usually features conflicts in space with beings or societies who have advanced technology or supernatural powers. Usually, space operas are actions and adventures themed, featuring space travel or wars or heroes trying to save the universe. You must have seen the movie Star Wars. At the end of my talk, I am going to talk about several science fiction movies right from the 15th century to the present age century. So it is very interesting to know about all the science fiction movies, at least titles and their major themes. So another important genre of science fiction is space western. In the space western science fiction, the stories are related to the blend elements of science fiction with the elements of western genre. So, and the last genre, as I have mentioned, few of them is the cyberpunk. So, in the in such kind of a science fictions, stories that juxtapose advanced technology with less advanced, broken down society. So, on the one hand, there is advanced technological world, and on another hand, there is a broken down society or less advanced kind of society is there. So, to move further, we need to talk about the major themes in science fiction. Okay, so these are the major themes. Science fiction is often called the literature of ideas. Science fiction novels include a wide variety of futuristic concepts. Since they are so imaginative, anything is possible in this world of science fiction, especially in soft science fiction novels. Science fiction novels can be about space, time travel, aliens, or time traveling aliens in space. Besides that, if you see the major themes when you see the movies like Star Wars and Star Trek, there is a major theme like space travel to or from other planets. And when you see the Back to the Future, time travel to the past and future, the major theme is there. And when you see the such kind of movies that the Incredible Hulk or Spider-Man, psychological or biological changes to a man brought about by scientific changes, you can also see in the movie like Invisible Man, right? So such kind of theme is very much available in science fiction, right? Besides that, when you see uh, let me take all the here major themes, like when you see other science fiction movies or novels, the like supernormal powers. When you see the movie like Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, or science applied to human relations for constructive or destructive purposes, like weird science, Frankenstein, or Invisible Man, battle with alien life forms like Science, The Date of the Earth Stood Still, or District 9, or alternate universe in again in you can see in the Star Wars. Now, which are the uh, classic science fiction novels that we need to know or we need to read? First one is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, right? This one is the first. So when you see this, when you read this novel, It features underwater exploration and a technological advance submarine is there, and two things that were primitive at the time the novel was very much written during 1870, that it was something new for the humankind, underwater exploration and a technological advanced submarine. So it's a kind of a science fiction. So the second science fiction that we need to read is the Way of the World by written by very famous. All of his work is we all are aware about the time machine and everything, but the famous one is the War of the Worlds, written by H.G. Wells. And in the War of the Worlds, the story of Martins invading the earth and includes themes of space, science, and astronomy. Besides that, when you read this novel, the story of an alien invasion in the United Kingdoms that threatened to destroy mankind. And there is a section, 3 4 lines are there in the novel, that uh, from the I quote from the novel, that no one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by the intelligence greater than man's, and yet as mortal as his own, unquote. So such kind of quotations, and the narrator um, describes a time when mankind was innocent. He is setting up for the story of when earth was unexpectedly attacked by an alien race, and how they were completely unprepared to have a fight with aliens, and too proud to believe that any other force in the universe could threaten them. So through uh, though only a story, War of the Worlds address a scientific concern and possibility that uh, is a mystery for mankind, and still we are unaware about all such kind of whether aliens exist or not. That is the different question, but we need to believe all such kind of works. Let us see one after another. Few of them is the Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. So um, in this the novel set in a futuristic dystopian world with many scientific developments where people are genetically modified. So we need to read also very famous science fiction written by John Campbell, that is Who Goes There. Was this fiction the story of an alien creature that is shapeshifter and has the gift of telepathy. So uh, we need to read this novel. Then Foundation by Isaac Asimov follows a galactic civilization after their empire collapses. And another very famous science fiction writer, that is George Orwell, written a very famous novel entitled 1984, set up in a dystopian version of the year 1984, where the world has uh, succumbed to extreme levels of government interferences in daily lives. So in that sense it is also considered as science fiction. Also Ray Bradbury's uh, Fahrenheit 451, set in a futuristic dystopian society where books are banned and will be burned if found. So this is also considered as a science fiction novel. Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Hillian, and tells the story of a human who was born on Mars. It is a very interesting story. A human who was born on Mars and raised by Martian uh, aliens, and who comes to live on Earth. So Stranger in a Strange Land, written by Robert Henry. So the next very interesting and mm, play praiseworthy novel, that is The Man in the High Castle by Philip Dick, set 15 years after the end of World War II, offers an alternative history of what could happen if the alien powers had defeated the allied powers, or Axis power had defeated to alien powers. So um, Dune by Frank Herbert, set in an interstellar society in the distant future. And 2001 A Space Odyssey by Arthur Clarke is also very interesting um, novel, tells the story of the women who lose their rights after uh, a state overthrows the US government. Here, Margaret, here the author talks about intelligence life forms the worlds. So there are also Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, and the last one is, even though it is a story, considered as a very famous story written by Ted Chiang, The Story of Your Life. But recently you must have seen a movie uh, which was released in the year of 2016, Arrival, right? Uh, so in that movie, this concept is uh, very much related to science fiction. And here the character entitled Banks works with aliens, learns their language. She begins to understand and process time as they do, and their idea of time is much different than that of humans. So she soon sees her future, and the daughter who hasn't yet been born but will at a young age die of a disease, certain kind of disease. So knowing her future, Dr. Banks risk her heartbreak to have a family and the chance to love her own daughter. Such kind of theme are very much available, which we have seen previously in all these classical science fictions. Now, the major part of our talk is that which are the very famous science fiction movies. You can see that even before cinemas, science fiction made its mark on film. So, A Trip to the Moon, which was released in 1902 by Frenchman Georges Méliès, and Metropolis in 1926 by German um, writer, the first classical science fiction, Metropolis, or we can say, even though Frankenstein. So in 1930s, this was released in the year of 1930s in the form of a film. And Invisible Man, 1933, starting Claude Rains, from the novel of written by H.G. Wells. Okay, Invisible Man. Things to Come, from the screenplay of again the famous writer H.G. Wells, based on the novels. Things to Come is based on the shape of things to come. So this is the first great sound picture in the field, and the first film to show a utopian future that includes the promise of space flight, right? So the another very prominent movie in the year of 1930s, that two prominent serials were there, Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. Uh, right? So these are very famous. Now, when we see, and uh, during 1950s, uh, and estimated about 500 feature films and serials that can be classified science fictions were made between 1948 to 1962. So science fiction really became a very popular cinematic genre after the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. So this event prompted a rash of after the bomb and aliens invasion films uh, in the form of films. So during 1950s, Destination Moon, a pseudo documentary based on Robert uh, Helene's novel that rocket ship Galileo. So the things which was released in the year 1951 based on John Campbell's short story "Who Goes There." Just we have seen that features the famous actor like James Ernest as a fearsome alien carrot, right? So when we see another in the year of science 196 in the 1960s, the time machine, and everyone is all aware about that. This movie is based on the adaptation of the novel written by H.G. Wells, right? So it was really released in the year of 1960s. Then we can see that Stanley Grammer made the another science fiction in 1964 with Dr. Strangelove, Love the Bomb, the dark comedic satire of a nuclear war, features Peter Sellers and French's 451 stars Oscar writer that uh, uh, we can say that Trufford's film, the Ray Bradbury novel. That novel was written during 1960s. So we, of course certain kind of things that we need to believe in science fiction, because science fiction is very much popular among youngsters. So in 1977, the debut of Star Wars, the world famous movie, mm, Star Wars sparked a revitation of science fiction. Due to the huge success of this film, the market for an interest in science fiction as a film, as a literature, all the stratosphere again and expanding the entire field. It gives a kind of stimulus to all the kind of writers as well as directors to uh, write science fictions or direct science fictions. That's why the series of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, then in the 1980s we can see Batman is a stylish telling of the story of uh, Michelle, I think actor is there, right? Keaton. Unfortunately, Jack Nicholas dominated as the Joker in the film of that Batman. So the sequel of Batman Returns, and we can see that Batman and Robin, which was also released, Batman Forever features all kind of Blade Runners, which was released during the year of 1980s. The Road Warrior, right? uh, Et, the extra territorial, the Terminator. Everyone is all aware about the famous Arnold's movie, the Terminator, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines was released recently. And even during, I think, 2016 or 18, the last part of the Terminator was also released. So we are aware about, and we must have seen this machine kind of steel versus iron kind of a machine kind of science fiction movies. And when we see recently science fiction movies in the 90s, Total Recall, Edward Scissorhands and Time Cop, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Independence Day, Men in Black, Contact, based on a novel by Carl Sagan, and Face Off. Such kind of movies are also very popular during the year of 1990s. Okay, so when when we see science fiction movies today, I need to I have collected few kind of world famous and all time science fiction movies. Matrix. So before we move further, I need to show you one clip of how science fiction works. We need to see that the Matrix. First, we I need to talk about the Matrix. The Matrix is a science fiction action film that thrilled audiences upon its release, and it tells the story of a world where human existence is completely controlled, and life on Earth is actually only a simulation occurring in our minds. So this simulation is called the matrix. Got it? So the Matrix is science action film. It tells the story of a world where human existence is completely controlled and life on Earth is actually only a simulation occurred in our minds, and this simulation is called the Matrix. So I'm playing the clip, and in the clip, the audience and the main character learn exactly what Earth is actually like behind the simulation. So here the protagonist is the Neo, is presented with the information that his life is all an illusion, and it is almost more than his mind can handle. Eventually, he is given the choice of whether to continue to live in the matrix or to live in reality and try to save mankind. A task that is almost impossible and at times terrifying. That's why this has become very popular movie during that time. So I am playing actually uh, want to first stop this sharing, and then I will share you the clip of the movie. One minute. Okay. So, friends, we need to see such a kind of so many movies like Spider-Man, Men in Black, X-Men, Planets of the Apes, Resident Evil, Robot, and Harry Potter series, Avatar, the way of the Avatar again, right? The way of water, War of the Worlds, and Arrival, and recently even the all Avengers Endgame kind of movies are very much popular. So we need to read. Why we need to read and uh, this kind of a science fiction, because science fiction is considered as one of the most creative genres in literature, because there is n number of imaginative power that we can write it up, and writer has a full kind of freedom. So science fiction novels take readers on adventures from fairway galaxies to underwater worlds and everywhere in between, introducing them to otherworldly characters, technologies along the way. There are hundreds of science fiction titles produced each year in the USA alone, and books sales are increasing nationwide. We all are aware about the Harry Potter series, right? The number of movies, TV shows, comics, computer games that are aimed at a science fiction, and with the addition of artificial intelligence, AI technology, audience are growing every year as well. So science fiction are entertaining, makes the audience wonder what if, encourage creativity in writing, role playing, introduces students to a new literary genres. They can do a kind of research on it, uh, and teaches lessons about value. Science fiction also talks about the basic values of human rights of human rights, and dangers of advanced technology if it goes into the wrong hands, and enhances imaginative power. So everyone, all youngsters are reading science fictions and they are crazy about science fictions. Let them read science fiction. In it, young people can see themselves coping with such kind of world, or like the character Leo, how coping, surviving, and learning lessons from a strange world that may enable them to create their own strategies for living peacefully on this earth. So, with these words, once again, I need to thank the entire team of Aya Nadar Janki Amal College, and I need to thank uh, nationally acclaimed academician Dr. M. Murugantham sir and Dr. Sunitra Valli ma'am for giving me an opportunity to share my views in front of such a elite audience. Thank you very much, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Professor,
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much for this enlightening session. Thank you, sir.
The session was very informative, sir. And I'm pretty sure that the participants leave the session with a deeper understanding on science fiction and also a sense of motivation to further explore it. Thank you for the valuable time, sir. May I now invite Ms. K. Kalaivani, Assistant Professor, Department of English, to propose word of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening to one and all in this meet. I'm so grateful to thank God Almighty for showering His blessing on us to run the FTP smoothly nearly for 6 days.
Madam, Kalivani madam, sorry to interrupt you.
As well.
Madam, extremely sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
There are few questions in chat box, it seems. Someone has
Oh,
raised hands,
yeah.
and
Fine, sir. Fine. Let us
please wait.
discuss about.
Before proceeding for vote of thanks,
Sure, sir.
kindly wait. KS ma'am, kindly look after the queries or any clarifications
Yes, sir.
from the participants. I found Mr. Ganesh Prabhu, Professor Ganesh Prabhu, has raised a hand.
Dear participants, you can post your queries on the chat box. You can also share your feedback in the chat box. If you have any queries, you can post it in the chat box.
Dear participants, if you have any queries, as Sundaroli Madam has pointed out, kindly post it in the chat box or you can unmute your mic and speak. You are free to do that. Uh, Professor Prashant is ready to reply your doubts.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Madam, let us wait for 2 minutes. If you don't have any queries, yes, Mr. Raja sir has joined, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Your session was so wonderful, sir, and I have learned so many
Professor
things.
Raja sir.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Thank you
am
very
I
much.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Sir,
please.
one question to you, sir. Kindly clarify. While you are taking projects for, on Skyfi, most of the people have been doing only on fantasy alone, but they leave the idea of science and its development, especially in new millennium. Science has reached it to peak, like Avatar and all the things. What is your opinion, sir? People taking only the fantasy element and leaving out all these things. What is your opinion, sir?
Mm, Actually, I didn't get your exact question. Uh, can you please clarify regarding what they take and what they don't take? They take fantasy,
Professor Raja, please
imagination.
repeat your question. Raja sir.
Sir, I put it in the chat box. People take only the fantasy, like imagination and other things, but they have left out the development of science and its impact. What is your opinion, sir?
Fantasy, of course, unless and until, my opinion is that unless and until we imagine, okay, science won't prove or okay, all scientists first they imagine what they want to do, okay, and then afterwards they try to work on it. So both are important, I think, because unless and until we imagine certain kind of things, who believes 200 years before that we can talk with each other online by sitting at our respective home. If COVID-19 has taught us such a kind of I may mention here APJ Abdul Kalam's statement that adversity gives an opportunity uh, to introspect ourselves, and such kind of adversity, or we can say imagination, motivates us, stimulates us to work scientists to prove the fact. Okay, so both the things are included in the science fiction, according to me. Hope so. I have given the answer to the Raja sir's question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Two other participants have raised their hands, madam. If they have any questions, they can post it in the chat box. Ma'am, do we have any more questions? Yes.
Excuse me, sir. We have received two more questions in the chat box. May I read it?
Yes, please. I can see one.
What are the
Okay.
characteristics of
Ah.
science fiction for kids?
That which I have already mentioned in my talk, that major themes or characteristics of science fiction. How can you check it? There is a time travel theme is there, or super normal power with person, or we can say aliens, battle with aliens, or alternate universe is also there, or a man with has a scientific changes, like a film called Hulk is there, Spider-Man is there. So time travel is also one of the major theme of science fiction.
One of the participants will be pleased to hear the science fiction written by Atwood from yours.
Sorry.
One of the participants has mentioned or want to know the science fiction written by Atwood, sir.
uh, During my talk I have mentioned one of the novel written by Margaret Atwood.
Atwood.
I think The Handmaid's Tale. Okay. This is the science fiction written by Margaret Atwood in 1985. The Handmaid's Tale, written by
Or,
Margaret Atwood.
yes, sir, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for pleasing the participants with your wonderful answer. How the science fiction will predict the literature in future, sir? One more question in the chat box.
Of course, science fiction is all about future only.
Yeah, yeah.
Predicts. They predicts, and we can see the prediction in the movie of Avatar,
Mm,
right? So
yeah.
that director, I forgot the name of the famous director who is the director of Titanic film as well, the director of Avatar, and
James
because
Cameron.
he predict, yes, yes, he predict, he devotes 10 years of his life for work only, for the predictions, like James Cameron, right? So uh, that director predicts future, and we can also see we are not matching with the uh, characters like Spider-Man or Batman, but we are trying our own version of Indian robot, Rajnikant's movie, right? So we have also kind of a movie here also. We predict what will happen if the technology goes in the hands of robots, we can see in that movie. So prediction is there, or everything, every time futuristic elements are involved in science fiction.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. One more question in the chat box, sir. Is science fiction promote scientific attitude among readers?
Yes,
Will it
definitely
provide?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay.
this is the benefit of science fiction novels, that if a child reads, who knows, who one day he will become the CEO of Apple, and he can innovate something new for us, with the technology in our hand. Now the new technology is coming with the innovation of AI technology, right? Artificial intelligence. Besides that, chat GPT is the technology. Of course, behind every technology, human mind is there. So this stimulates youngster. When they are reading science fiction, it stimulates to think futuristic innovation in that direction only.
Yes, sir. What's the connection between science fiction and digital humanitarian and post-humanism in literature?
I don't think so there is any connection between science fiction,
Among
because
the
digital humanities is something else. uh, We all are aware about science fiction, as I have already devoted a talk for 1 hour. Digital humanity is also a new concept which talks about all the humanities elements to talk with the digital kind of things. So, of course, all three are different concepts, and we need to have a separate lecture on it. I can deliver a separate lecture on digital humanities as well. It is newly concept introduced in Savitribai Phule Pune University. There is a separate syllabus for it, this for digital humanities as well as pragmatics, and I am not aware about this concept, post-feminism. Sorry
Yeah,
to
thank
know.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
If the Bremi is aware about this concept, you can text me through WhatsApp. I will read it and I will let you know the answer of it.
The purpose of writing science fiction article is to be known by the participants, sir.
Did you get that question or not?
And I'm also not sure about it.
What is the purpose of the science fiction
Writing,
article means?
to
I'm
inculcate
not
the science
getting that
fiction idea.
question.
Yeah, it's okay, sir. Fine. Moving on, sir. All the questions are answered by our chief guest now.
Yes, madam. Please proceed for vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Good evening to all the virtual attendees of the meet. I'm so grateful to thank Almighty for showering His blessing on us to run the FTP smoothly and nearly perfectly. My thanks goes to Dr. Shi Ashok, the principal of our college, and the correspondent of our college, Tiruji Abruvan, for granting permission to organize a national level 7-day upskilling professional development program for the academicians. I wish to extend my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Prashant Subhashrao Mothe, Associate Professor, Department of English, Adarsh Vidyalaya, Maharashtra. I really thank you, sir, for throwing light on science fiction and for answering the question of the participants very patiently. I thank you for raising the FTP by being here. Thank you, sir. A very
Thank
special
you.
Professor, thank you so much once again, Professor.
Thank
It's
you.
really
Thank
a great
you.
honor, a great privilege for us to listen to
Hope
your wonderful talk,
so.
sir. Thank you so much.
Very soon we will
Thank you, sir.
meet physically.
Physically, yes, sir. Please, I am looking
Next.
forward to it, sir. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I'm
I'm
looking
eagerly
forward
waiting
to
for it.
meet you physically, sir.
Yes, sir. Please do come to our college also. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Surely,
so
sir.
much.
For any
Thank you.
academic purpose, definitely I will visit it. Thank you,
Wonderful.
sir.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. We have to travel a lot, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
A very special thanks to the conveners of the FTP, Dr. G. Sivanation, Head, Department of Tamil PG, Dr. N. Armuli, Head, Department of Tamil UG, Dr. M. Movindan, Department of UG, Dr. R. Sofirani, Department of English PG. Thank you, sirs and madam, for guiding us on a right way. My appreciation to the organizing secretary, Dr. S. Vinod, and Mrs. K. Sundaravalli, who handled the event throughout. I would be failing in my duty if I don't thank the participants of the various colleges and our college faculty members who made this day possible. I really value your stay in the meet. I thank you everyone for making this program a meaningful one to all. I thank you all. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us go into the session. Thank you.